Welcome back. In previous lecture, we have discussed about the supercharging. Now, there are two terms used, that is turbocharger and supercharger. So, what is the basic difference between this supercharger and turbocharger? So, basically, the superchargers are air blowers or compressors which are driven by the engine shaft through gear arrangement, while the exhaust gas driven centrifugal compressors are called as turbochargers. So, in case of superchargers, to run the compressor or to run this air blower, always the power is utilized from the engine output shaft. And in case of turbochargers, that centrifugal compressor is run with the help of the energy of exhaust gas. So this is basic difference between supercharger and turbocharger. So the aim of these both is nothing but to increase the charge density during the suction stroke of the engine. So in case of supercharger, the engine output power is always affected, but in case of turbocharger, the engine output remains unaffected since the energy of engine exhaust gases is utilized to run a gas turbine which drives the air compressor or blower. Therefore, the basic methods of supercharging are engine driven supercharger, and second is turbochargers, which are run on engine exhaust gases. So this is the basic difference between supercharger and turbocharger. Now next point is methods of supercharging. So these supercharging methods that depends upon the arrangement. Arrangement means that depends upon the construction of compressor, engine and this gears arrangement. So the first method of supercharging is gear driven supercharger. So if you see this diagram, gear driven supercharger means we know in supercharger always the engine output power is affected, that is engine output power is utilized to run the compressor. So from this engine output power, that power is supplied to the compressor with the help of gear and pinion arrangement. So in this method, a power required to run a compressor is supplied from the engine output. Therefore, net power output of supercharged engine is equal to the difference of power output of engine and power required to drive the compressor. The compressor air is cooled in aftercooler, hence improve the volumetric efficiency and power output of the engine. If you see this diagram, engine shaft and compressor shaft, both these shafts are connected to each other with the help of gear and pinion arrangement. So as this engine starts with the help of this gear and pinion, compressor gets rotates, it sucks the surrounding air, gets pressurized, and that high pressure some amount increase the temperature air supplied to the engine through the after cooler or air cooler. So in this after cooler or air cooler, cooling of the air takes place, and as air gets cooled, its volume gets decreases, and its advantage is volumetric efficiency of engine increases. So this simple method is nothing but what? Gear driven supercharger. Because in this case the supercharger, that is compressor, is run with the help of gear arrangement. The advantage of such method is the method is simple. There is no any complications in the system. Maintenance is low. Now the second method is coupled engine compressor and turbine supercharger. So in this case, as name indicates, coupled engine, compressor and turbine. So these three devices gets coupled to each other with the help of gear arrangement, with the help of shafts. If you see the block diagram, so the engine output shaft is coupled to the turbine shaft with the help of gear and pinion, and this turbine shaft is directly coupled to the compressor shaft. So in this method, both the energies are utilized, that is, some amount of exhaust energy of gases is utilized, and again engine output power is also get utilized to run the compressor. See the working. So in this method, engine output is supplied to the turbine with the help of gear and pinion arrangement, and this turbine shaft is directly coupled to the compressor. So as the engine starts, turbine gets rotates. As turbine rotates, compressor gets run. It sucks the surrounding air, gets pressurized, and that high pressure air